Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Rose, and in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you what do I do for my first week of school. It seems like every year that I have been a teacher, and I believe I'm starting my 13th year or 12th year. I think it's my 13th. But it seems as though for a moment in time, the first week of school, I have something, I figured it out, and then after a couple of years, it starts to feel either stale or ways that it can improve. And so although I have been teaching for so long, I do find that the first week of school is something that I am always changing. I feel like once we get into content, it's so easy to just begin, but there's something about that first week of school that I'm always adjusting. And so I wanted to share with you, hopefully give you some ideas. Anything that I can find on my laptop, I will place somewhere here in the video. So before we get started, please make sure that you like this video, that you subscribe to my channel for more content, and let's get into it. What do I do on the first week of school? So here's what the first day of school is going to look like. I'm going to do something called Investigate the Teacher. I actually saw this on Instagram. There's a teacher called I can't remember. I'll make sure that I put her IG handle here. But she had something really great that was called Investigate the Teacher. Normally, like most of us, we just put a slide up, we talk about ourselves, and then we move on. But it is a lot of talking on the first day of school, and it is important to get students at least a little bit more comfortable with moving around your room. So each of them are going to get a piece of paper, and you're going to place things around your classroom, or whether it be the decor, and you're going to allow them to investigate who you are. And they're going to find 4 things in the classroom to try to understand either things that are important to you, things that you like, and you can place props in various parts of your classroom. This is going to be the first time I'm trying this. Again, I saw the idea online and I was like, what a great idea. So I'm going to make sure that I print pictures and that I have like my favorite history topics placed somewhere, that I'm going to make sure that my room is decorated with the things that I love, various colors, etc. I'm going to like randomly place, I always tell the students that I love avocado, and so I'm going to like randomly place an avocado somewhere. A student last year gave me like an avocado like soft toy, so I'll make sure that's out. Just all the random things that you would normally tell them about yourself, you want to kind of place around the room and allow them to walk around. Then the next step of that is for students to discuss in groups what are some things they think about you, what are their assumptions about you based on their findings. After they are done collaborating and discussing with each other, then they can write it down on a piece of paper, and then you can reveal those things to them on a slide. Oh, how many of you thought this, da, 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 and then they can see how exactly them looking and investigating came to certain conclusions. This then you can transition into the topic that you teach. If you're a science teacher, this is awesome. A math teacher, social studies, things that require critical thinking, putting pieces together, finding information, and trying to come up with conclusions. So you could even totally connect this to your topic and what you're going to do in the classroom with them moving forward. I do find that on the first day, everything goes by so quickly. I'm also nervous on the first day of school, and so I feel like I do things a lot faster than I normally would, as opposed to taking my time. So for the last 20 minutes of the first day, I'm going to give all of the students a piece of paper that they can fold and create name cards. You already know it's the beginning of the year. We have over 100 students, and it's impossible to remember their names. And so having them make name cards, and then I always like to have them write something important on the inside, something that they would want me to know. And so they can make their name cards, they can decorate them, and then that will be on their desks for at least the first 2 weeks of school. Day 2, I like to introduce icebreakers. So day 2, students are a lot more comfortable, and this time around we are going to do icebreakers. I normally like to do a dating system or like a speed dating system, but the classroom that I'm in this year is so tiny. I don't think we can move any desks into a linear format. So this time around, I'm going to be doing it in stations. And so every station will have different questions based on different topics. Maybe there's one station that only focuses on academic questions. There's another station that maybe focuses on summer questions, another station that focuses on personal questions like, do you have hobbies? Are you into any sports? Do you do anything outside of school? Each station will be focused on a different topic, which I think is going to be so much fun. Then I am also going to include a station about the syllabus. The syllabus to me, especially with 6th graders, is important, but not that important. They just need to know what is the general gist of the classroom. What are the general things that they're going to be learning, and what are the skills that we're going to be focusing on? What do they need to know how to do by the end of the year? And I'll make sure that I have some discussion questions for that station. After they read the syllabus to themselves, then they can discuss it with each other, and that will be the end of day 2. Now, what you're going to notice is that on day 2, I still have not spoken about class rules. And here's why. Well, students are always coming into school late. They are still, half of them, on vacation. And a lot of times they won't show up until the Monday, which is the 3rd day that we start school. So I like to hold off for class rules because for me, they're so important that it's not something I like to do on the first day. They're nervous, they're not going to remember anything. And again, a lot of students are either coming in from vacation or they're being moved from your classroom. So you'll notice that you may start with one group of kids on the first week, but then their class might change on the 2nd week. So I like to hold off at least until the 4th or 5th day of school. On the 3rd day, this is a movement activity. I have done this every single year. I take images from the top 8 topics that we talk about in our class, and I print them and then I put them on poster paper. I like to place them around the room, and then I also give students information about that topic. So each student will get their own slip of information. So for example, let's say one of the posters has an image of the Parthenon. One of the students may have a paper that says, dedicated to the worship of the goddess Athena. There's going to be other things around the room. There's going to be a picture of a globe. There may be a picture of Lucy the Australopithecus. And so students have to use their own knowledge and critical thinking to try to figure out which one of these would make the most sense. I like to do about 4 to 5 per poster. And then once students think that they're at the right place, they are then supposed to discuss their slip with the people around them to see if all of the slips make sense together. Then at the end, when students believe that they really are at the right place, I have a list of the correct ones and I'll tell them, okay, if you got this, you should be at station 1. If you got this, you should be at station 2. And then they'll find that they either were correct or they may have had to move from one place to the other. This is just to get them moving, talking to their peers, and interested in some of the topics. Then, based on the station that they're standing at, they will then fill out a I see, I think, I wonder. Each student will take turns writing down either all 3, what they see, think, and wonder, or 1. Give them the choice because we still don't know where students are at and how comfortable they feel with school and your classroom. So always give them the choice, especially in the first couple of days of school. Then we get to discuss some of the things that they wonder. I really love to play this part up, especially with Lucy the Australopithecus. Like, you guys, when we learn about Lucy, and I just like to exaggerate it, for 6th grade, I feel like you can really do that and be extra playful, and they love it. You also get a really good sense for their personalities just by not only reading what they write, but also the students that are willing to read out what is on the posters. So for days 4 and 5, we're going to be focusing on class rules. Yes, you heard it, class rules. So this is going to be a collaborative effort amongst the students, which I always do. I have moved away from just giving the students the rules that I think are important because you need student buy-in. And so every single group will be focusing on rules that they believe are very, very important for the classroom. Maybe it's based on their ideal classroom. You can give them sentence starters like, I expect my teacher to, I would like my classmates to, I think that the ideal behavior for students is, and then they can come up with their own rules. Once students have individually come up with their rules, and you can do this on post-it paper, on index cards, then you're going to have them organize the information. I like this idea. If you have older students, they can organize it into their own categories. But for 6th grade, I am going to provide them the categories. One can be teacher expectations on a poster board, another can be student expectations, another can be classroom routine. It really depends on what you think the students will come up with, and then they can come up with their card or their post-it, which would make the most sense, and place it in the correct place. Then from there, we will, as a class, look at what all of those rules are and come up with a solidified list. Now, you as the teacher should also be participating in this because your voice also matters in the rules. So what I like to do is I like to look around at what I see on there and what I think is missing that is something that is important to me. For example, a rule that I always include is no bullying, and I discuss what that looks like. Students don't necessarily write that down oftentimes, but then once I explain it, they're like, oh yeah, duh. So that could be your own contribution to the rules. Then you can have a student come up and write all the rules on a poster paper, put the class's title, and those are the rules for the class. Give students some time to digest, to understand, to reflect. And then on day 5, for the first 20 minutes, I do give a class rules quiz. My class rules quiz is a way for my students to get an easy 100 to start off the year, but also to reinforce the importance of the rules. Yes, we even get tested on this, and it also just goes to show that they know them and that you take the rules very seriously. Be sure to also share with students what are the consequences for breaking the rules. Rules only matter if there are consequences applied. Maybe the first consequence is for you to talk to them one-on-one, maybe to take them out in the hallway, then to call a parent. If it escalates to something else, maybe you have to then revert them to the guidance counselor. Make sure the students also know what the consequence ladder is for your rules, because then that way, when they break them, you are easily able to direct them to, okay, I'm going to have to do this because this is what I said was the consequence for that behavior. So that's that. You're going to notice that the entire first 5 days of school, I am not touching content as far as a mini lesson and us really diving deep into anything. Those first 5 days, I have learned to just ease into it. You will get to the content, but really taking the time on those first 5 days, because the truth is we come back and that schedule hits us like a ton of bricks, and it does to the kids too. I'm sure they all go home and they nap, because there are times I want to go home and nap. And so really take it easy on yourself the first 5 days. It's very easy to go in super strong, and then by the time you know it, you lost your voice. It's the 4th day of school and you're already tired. So I've learned this. Let's just ease into the year. You'll get to what you need to get to, but creating a solid foundation where you have great rapport with your students, learning to understand their personality, and then also introducing some content and class rules. It's just a good balance for everything for the first 5 days. So that's my first week of school. I would love to know what you guys do during your first week of school, so definitely share some info down below. Again, this is a community where I would love for all of us to help each other. I am not the only expert in the room. Many of you do amazing things in your classroom every single day. So please share in the comments below, give us some advice, and of course, I will see you all in the next video.